welcome to another episode of the Shifting Your Atmosphere podcast. I'm excited. Are y'all excited? Yo, we're excited. And y'all can tell that I'm excited because the last couple of days been a little rough. But I'm back. So in today's episode, we're going to do a little bit of an icebreaker. We're going to do something that y'all all have heard of. And what's that? We listen and we don't judge, right? We listen and we don't judge. Okay, I just had to go and let y'all know that before I tell y'all this so y'all don't be judging me. Since today's episode about mindset, and I start to think and get prepared for this episode, I'm like, when did you establish your own mindset? When did you solidify your mindset? And the sad truth and reality was, I don't think I ever had my own mindset until probably after I had my second child. Well, after I found myself again after I had my second child. And that's a little bad, ain't it, y'all? That's a little bad. Because I feel like the reason I can say that is due to the fact that I was the oldest child. So I always did what I was told to do. I always did what I felt like was expected of me. I always did the right thing, the responsible thing. And if I didn't, I did the complete and utter opposite because I was a little fed up with doing what was right? And then even after I went on to college, I started to fall into doing things that, or having certain mindsets that I thought would bring me love and affection. Wrong. Wrong. I was real wrong about that. Then, after college, I had my kids. So I went right back to doing what I felt like was responsible, what I felt like was the responsible mom thing to do, the super mom thing to do. Not ever did I stop and think, is this what you want to do? Is this fueled by your own desires? Is this what God wants you to do? Is what you're doing, what is it backed by? What's the root of it? What's the why? What made you decide that this was the right thing to do? Or this was the thing that you were going to do? And it always seemed like it was predicated on somebody else. Somebody else told me this. Somebody else told me that. Somebody else told me this. I learned this in church. Something along those lines. Like, I'm like, girl, hold up. This can't be that, right? So I sat there and I started to think, Key, what do you want? And how are you thinking, or what are the things that you're thinking about, fueling your mind with, or creating mindsets around that's going to get you not only closer to God, but closer to your goals, closer to things that you desire, closer to the change that you fighting tooth and nail to achieve. And so that's how we got here today. That's how we got to this episode today, y'all, because otherwise, I don't really know where I would have gotten when it came to mindset if I hadn't done that. And I truly believe that mindset was one of the hardest things for me to overcome. I talk about how fitness was difficult, but mindset was one of the hardest things for me to overcome to be able to shift my atmosphere. And that's why I drill and I talk about almost everything and how it connects into the shift of the mindset, the shift of the atmosphere, because you can't exhibit any actions outwardly if your thought process and your mindset around it does not change. And there was a lot of therapy. There was a lot of therapy. And I'm sure my therapist, if she ever watches this, she can attest to the fact that 75% of our sessions, we were talking about the same thing. We were talking about the same thing over and over and over and over. And it was like to the point that she was starting to question if she could help me. And I'm like, girl, no, it's not you. It's not you, it's me. And for a very long time, I felt like the things around me had to change for me to produce change, when really it was me that had to change. I had to make a shift. I had to make a change within myself, in my mind, my way of thinking, the way that I thought about things, in order to really make a move and make a shift. And there was a lot of repetitive actions. There was a lot of repetitive cycles that I felt like I kept going through. And after a while, I became that person that if somebody asked me, have you lost your mind? I'd be like, yeah. At this point, yeah, I have to have lost my mind, because how have I done this again? How have I come to this same place again? How am I in the same boat I just cried and screamed, struggled out of? How am I back here? And you want to know why I was back there? Because my mindset hadn't changed. You want to know why I was talking about the same thing over and over? Because my mindset hadn't changed. And I hear people talk about bondage a lot, but I really don't think that they explained it very deeply, at least from the people that I heard bondage about. But when I began to grow in my faith and grow in God, I realized that you can be bound by your own mind. Your own mind, your thought process, your mindset on a certain situation can be what keeps you in it sometimes. Literally, think about it. Think about animals, okay? Let's think about animals. So when an animal is domesticated, the mindset that they've trained that domesticated animal to do or think is that it can't do certain things, right? So if that animal could have the tiniest little gate or fence around it actually could jump over the fence if it really wanted to. But because they've trained and instilled in its mind that it can't, and this is its perimeter, and this is the way, or this is the things that it should abide by, it's truly, for lack of better words, bound to that area, right? Bound to those behaviors that have been trained of them, right? So then let's think about it about us. If we think about it as people, if in your mind you're like, I can't get out of this relationship, I can't leave this job, I can't lose any weight, everybody in my family looks like this, I've looked like this for X amount of years, I've had children, so there's no way possible that I can X, Y, or Z. I come from this kind of family that didn't have tons of money, that did not have tons of notoriety, that did not have tons of wealth. So I can't create wealth. I can't become wealthy. I can't X, Y, or Z. You see where I'm going with this? In your mind, the reason why you think you can't do something, or even that I dare say, the reason why you don't put actions behind doing said thing is because in your mind, in your thoughts, in your mindset, you are bound to that thing, to that area, to that space, to that version of yourself, all because you think you gotta be. Girl, no you don't. No you don't. You do not have to be bound to anything, okay? People always talk about these really dramatic things. You're bound to sexual immorality. You're bound to fornication. You're bound to drugs and alcohol. You bound to, baby, what about if I'm bound to my own thinking? Okay? What if I'm stuck in patterns and cycles simply because in my mind, I don't think or believe enough that there's a different way, there's a better way, that I'm capable or I'm strong enough to make a shift, make a move, to come out of whatever I'm in because I've been in so long. My mama used to say to me all the time, possession is 9/10 of the law, right? So what she was really trying to say is, if you keep this long enough, it belongs to me. If you think that way long enough, it starts to seem as if it's a part of you. It starts to seem as if you will never come from under it. It'll start to seem like it's the only way, it's the only reality. And I'm sorry, I don't know what y'all do with y'all mom, but I tell my mama, return the sender real quick. Bye. You can have it back. You can have it back. Because I didn't agree. I either left my things over there, now it belongs to you, or because I have had something so long, for whatever reason, now it belongs to me, and I'm never going to be able to let it go because I own it now. It is my possession. No, not gonna happen. I ain't never tell her that. Even when she told me that if she babysat my child too long, now it belong to her. Girl, I'll be back for it later, but no. So let's think about that when it comes to the places that are very, very sensitive to us, right? We give our heart away to someone. And now, because they've had it for so long, does it belong to them? Is it their heart or is it your heart? if they're mismanaging it, are you not allowed to take your heart back? Are you not allowed to take your love back? Are you not allowed to create boundaries or recreate a safe space for your heart and for your love? If you said no, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Just because you have been doing something or harboring something or stuck and bound to something, whatever it may be for you, for an extended period of time, does not mean you can't come up out of it. All that means is you gotta make a shift. You gotta make a shift, you gotta make a change. We gotta pivot. We gotta get a little information in us. We gotta get a little motivation in us. We gotta show up for the first step, for the first time. Yes, ma'am. Now, I know I've been hollering in here to y'all about y'all mindset, but I mean it. I mean it. And y'all, I got in it so quick, I forgot to introduce myself. So for those who are new to our channel, hey, I'm Bondage from Shifting Your Atmosphere, where we aspire to help millennial women who have lost their identity shift from their current mindset to the one that God has for them by teaching them to show up for themselves every day. And we do that through practical resources, support groups, and this podcast. Now, back to me hollering. I'm just playing, y'all. I'm not hollering at y'all, but I'm passionate about this. I'm passionate about this because I was stuck in a lot of places before. Even in relationships, not just romantic, family-wise, friendship-wise, that I'm like, but they're X, Y, and Z to me, so I have to keep taking this type of mental or emotional abuse. No, I don't. No, you don't. It don't matter who you are, who they are. If it's not positively serving you, even if you're in a relationship that's abusive to you, mentally, emotionally, or physically, somebody would be so quick to tell you, hey, look, leave a relationship or any type of situation that is dangerous to you physically. But what about things that are mentally and emotionally damaging to you, mentally and emotionally binding you or keeping you bound to a certain environment, a certain job, a certain relationship, or a certain cycle in your life? That's where I'm going with it. What if those things are keeping you in a place you don't want to be? Is that not just as important? Is that not just as detrimental to your life, to the betterment of you? It is. It is. And don't let nobody ever tell you otherwise, okay? So, before we get into some tips and tricks and tools we can practically use, some that I've used for myself, you already know what time it is. It's time for the Styledbyksimone's Fashion Corner. So let's go. Welcome to Styledbyksimone's Fashion Corner, Fit Check. Okay, y'all already know what it is. I got this blue flouncy spring dress. It got a little warm outside. It made me excited. And if you don't follow me on TikTok, you should. But I got obsessed with these new cowgirl boots, trying to find outfits for a rodeo that I'm going to. And so I started to put a fit together and be like, am I one of those girls who wear a spring flouncy dress and the boots? I don't know. Y'all tell me in the comments if it fit me or it don't. Okay, y'all, let's get back to the episode. And if you listening to the audio and you can't see the video, just go over to the TikTok or to my Instagram to see the pictures of today's Styledbyksimone's Fashion Corner. Okay, back to the episode. Did y'all like today's Fashion Corner? Okay. We're gonna keep coming with the fits, y'all. I'm trying to do something different. I'm trying to see if I'm gonna be a rodeo girl or not. But that's another discussion for another day. Let's get back into the episode about mindset. So I'm going to hit a couple points that I feel like would be helpful to you, because it was helpful to me, of how I navigated, one, identifying what kind of mindsets I had, but also how I was able to, stick and move and shake and wiggle my way out of them, okay? So the first thing I decided to do or start doing, I don't remember whether that was a suggestion from my therapist or it was a personal suggestion, because I feel like everything should have an answer, right? So at some point, either I suggested it or she suggested for me to pros and cons everything. I pros and cons everything. And you may be thinking like pros and cons keep it. Hold on. Don't get ahead of me. Think about it. Pro and con your thoughts, your mindsets. Okay, I could never leave this relationship, right? What's the pros of you thinking that, right? If I think I could never X, Y, and Z, what's the pros of you thinking that? Aren't you? We had homework last week. I think I'm just start giving y'all homework because obviously y'all never gonna send it in the comments or anything unless I give y'all homework. So homework, but this is interactive homework. Y'all can come and share it with me later. But right now I want you to get out a sheet of paper or get the notes on your phone or something like that. This is what I want you to do. Get out your phone, get out your pencils, get out your paper, get out something. I want you to write down whatever it is that you think you cannot do, right? Whatever mindset you're stuck in that you want to change from. Whatever it is that you think about it, right? I want you to write it down. And then I want you, like right across the top, as a title, and then I want you to pros and cons it. What are the pros of you thinking that? What are the pros of you staying in this mindset, in this mind frame? What are the cons of that? Okay, let's hit an example. I think I will always be this size, right? I will always be unhealthy. I will always be overweight, okay? Pros. What are the pros of you thinking that and saying that to yourself? It keeps you from what? Not being disappointed if you feel like you don't achieve it. That's literally the only pro I can think of. Now, I'ma hit it with, the other end of the stick, which would be if a person, place, or thing, because y'all not gonna put words in my mouth. I'm not going to label anything, okay? But if a person, place, or thing would like or benefit from you thinking that, right? They probably could find a pro, right? They probably could find a pro of, if I keep reiterating this thought or keep this person in this mindset or thought process, it's gonna keep producing the outcome I want, right? Think about, think about it. I got an example for y'all. So think about it. Cause we're gonna go off script. We're not gonna make this about nobody for real. Think about marketing, right? Marketing for food companies for unhealthy snacks, right? Their pro or their goal of the reason why they would continue to keep you in the mind frame of that you will always be unhealthy and overweight. They benefit from that. If they keep you in their mindset and their mind frame, they continue to benefit. They fear you coming out of it because if you come out of it, you're going to stop buying their product. And what happens when you stop buying their product? They miss out on money. They have lost a customer, right? So their objective in marketing is to keeping you in that thought process, in that mind frame, in that cycle of thinking, so that they can keep a valued customer who's gonna keep buying the unhealthy snacks, right? So take the example, put your thing at the top, pro it and con it, because I can think about 800 million cons of why that's not okay. Health problems, health issues, early deaths, yeah. I can think of a ton of issues. My thought was that I've had kids, right? So I always have to have this certain type of body because that's what the kids left me with, right? No, ma'am. Now, I did have to come to the realization that I'm probably not going to be extremely skinny and thin after my second child, because that second child, why my hips, right? After carrying 2 kids in my hips. So I'm probably not gonna get down to no extra small or small or nothing like that like I did last time after I had my first kid. However, I don't have to always be unhealthy. I don't have to always be stuck in the fact that I'm gonna always be this size. I'm gonna be uncomfortable in the way that I look. Like, I have struggled with body dysmorphia for a long time, and that's why I bring up fitness a lot, because I was never really comfortable in my body because I always saw myself in the mirror in a way that I wasn't even. So when I would look back in hindsight at pictures from like middle school or high school or even college after I had kids, I'm like, bro, you was literally complaining about their body. Girl, bye. Now you done had 2 kids and look at you. Look at you. Yeah, so you'd rather have that back. So the reason I'm telling you to pro and con things, and the reason I mentioned the body dysmorphia is because you need to check if you're viewing this thought process and this mindset in the right way. And if it's in the wrong way, then you can begin to work on it and move forward with another one of the other steps. So after you've done the first tip or the first tool, you can move on to the second option, which would be to begin to fuel your mind. Fuel your mind. We will fuel our bodies. We will fuel our car. Baby, we will go get a fuel service. We'll get some put in there so our gas mileage is right? To make sure it's functioning to optimal capacity. But you telling me you're not gonna fuel your mind with what you need that would be positive for it to produce the goals or the outcomes that you want? Why? And I ain't just talking to y'all like that. I had to ask myself. This was the conversation I was having with myself. Like, girl, if you want to get out of the mindset that you will never love your body, why are you still looking at things where everybody's picking themselves apart? Why are you looking at things that are literally tearing people down because of comparison? Why are you speaking to yourself, about your appearance in your body negatively? Why are you not keeping yourself up so that you feel confident about just the space that you're in for your body? Why are you not doing that? Yeah, so start to fuel your mind the way that you would fuel your body so that you can prime your mind for the most effective and optimal outcome, because your mind is in the right space about whatever is your struggle, okay? Don't worry about nobody else's struggle, worry about your struggle. And I don't really suggest it, but if you want to handle all your struggles at one time, like I tried to, you really might lose your mind for a little minute. But you'll get there, you'll get back, you'll come out of it, but it might be a little minute, okay? It may seem harder if you're trying to tackle a ton of things at the same time, but sometimes you're so fed up with everything that you just like, look, I'm gonna rip everything down. I'd rather it be a completely empty, clean slate and I'm going through it this one big time, versus feel like I'm in a constant cycle of every time I come up a little bit or I change a little bit, now I'm back down again in a new area. So I just cleared the table. I just like, you know what, I'm throwing everything off and I'm gonna start from scratch. But if you don't wanna do that, you don't gotta do that. I did that for me though. And I'm suggesting you do this for you, whether you do it all at one time or you do one at a time, simply because, do you want to be the reason why you don't achieve the goal for yourself this year? I know I don't want to be the reason why I don't get what I have been seeking or praying or going after or dreaming about for years. I'm not going to be the reason. It's not going to be me. So the reason I don't lose weight or stay fit and get toned this year is not going to be because I didn't work out. Because I'm going to get after it. I want to show for myself every day. I even, actually last year, one of the things that I practiced was I wanted to begin to feel good about myself every single day, even when I had to go to work. So that's when I started doing my little 3 to 5 minute makeup routine, even if that was just my eyebrows and mascara or a set of lashes that could last me for a couple of weeks, and my eyebrows and putting my hair up, or getting physically dressed with the Office Shawty Chronicles every day for work. Even if that meant wearing heels, yes ma'am, you can hear me come down the hall every time I step, because I needed to do that for me. I desired that change. I wanted to feel good about myself. I chose what I was going to do, and I started to put it into practice to be disciplined about it. I was not going to be the reason why I was going to feel better about myself last year and build back up my confidence. I was not going to be the reason, right? Someone else could have said something negative to me and try to counter or balance that, but I personally was not going to be the reason, because I didn't make a choice, I didn't make a move, I didn't stick to any type of consistency for myself. Yeah, it wasn't going to be on me. So I'm asking you, whatever you want, whatever you desire, whatever change you're looking for, are you going to be the reason, or are your thoughts going to be the reason why you don't make that change, you don't achieve that goal, you don't make that move, you don't leave that whatever? Think about it. And for honorable mention, as you're trying to make these shifts and make these changes, if you're anything like me and you struggle with trusting yourself to make these choices, that's what support is for. That's what fueling your mind is for. Because once you begin to fuel your mind, you're going to be like, I already know this is a fact. It's not really me thinking it's a fact, but these are things that researchers told me. These are things that facts and nutritionists have told me. These are things that I've learned in church. These are things that the Bible say. These, wherever you get information from, whatever you're filling your mind with, it's going to help you counter doubt when doubt starts to come up on you when you start to make these changes in your mind, in your mindset. Because my favorite pastor, my favorite online pastor, PMJ, well, actually I got two, let me be correct. But PMJ recently said in one of his sermons, doubt is nothing but an argument. So if in your mind you're like, hey, look, I'm finna eat better, I'm finna change, I'm finna make this my healthy year, I'm finna reach my fitness goal, right? Dog gonna be like, but you ate some chips yesterday. Okay, and but you said the same thing last year and you ain't do nothing. Okay, well, I got the information now. Something's different now. I've changed now. Yeah, what I did last year didn't change, but me and my thoughts that are motivating my actions this year, it's changed. It's changing. So that means my outcome is gonna change, right? Right. Okay, y'all. And the last thing I could advise you to do as you're trying to make changes in your mindset, the first thing I told you was pros and cons. Take inventory of your thoughts, pros and cons, and then think about the reasoning behind why you're thinking that way, if it's worth it or not, so then you can make a shift out of it, right? The second thing I told you was, are y'all even remembering? The second thing I told y'all was to fuel y'all mind, right? And the last thing I'm gonna leave you with is to check your circle. Now, if I lose subscribers, I'm gonna let God handle that. But check your circle, because you'd be surprised. And it kind of slick go into fueling your mind, because think about it. If everybody around you doing the thing that you're trying to stop doing, how you gonna stop doing it? Why do they take people who are addicts away from the addiction, away from the places where the addiction behaviors occur? Because you can't stop doing or being a part of or thinking or whatever you got going on that you're trying to come out of if you're still surrounded by those conversations, those thoughts. If everybody around you is doing it, how would that work? And I know a lot of people struggle with going into solidarity or feeling like you're by yourself or you're lonely, but that's why I created a support group, so that it feels like you have a group of community of people who are, if they are not currently going through the same thing, they have before, or they understand and sympathize with the fact that you had to do that. Like, you've had to have your little season by yourself, which is you and God, because you was trying to come out of some things, or you had to leave certain situations. So now you don't have your big group of friends anymore because you're trying to stop doing the thing they're still okay with doing. Like, it doesn't matter, and it's no passing judgment to them. But sometimes there's just things that you're not okay with doing anymore, or you have a different goal or something that fuels you more than what they're still doing, and it's not a bother to them. And that's okay for them. It's not okay if it's uncomfortable for you. So you may have to check your circle and decide, hey, look, let me set up some boundaries. Let me maybe switch up some friends. Maybe let me categorize my friends. These are the friends that I hang out with. These are not the friends I pray with. These are the friends that I, kick it with once a week, twice a month. But this not the ones that I kick it with every day of my life that's gone when I'm trying to do my consistency on my certain days. Like, these are not the people circle for that. And that's okay. Now, let's recap one more time. We talked about mindset. We talked about writing out our thoughts that we want to come out of, pros and cons, so we can see, we can get straight on what we're thinking and why we're thinking it. Start to fuel our mind in the direction we're trying to go. And the third option is to check your circle, check the people around you. See if you want to do better. Don't they say you can't grow if you're the smartest person in the room? So think about it like that. If you're not around any people who are doing what you're trying to do, won't it still continue to feel impossible to achieve it? So yeah, get around some people that go to the gym or who don't mind working out if that's what you're trying to do. Get around you some entrepreneurs if you're trying to be an entrepreneur. Get around you some Christian friends if you're trying to have fun and not feel like your life is boring or stifled because you can't have a good time. Christian people and Christian friends still have a good time. You just don't have to do whatever it is you're uncomfortable with doing. But yeah, that's all I got for y'all today. If you like this content today, if you like our conversation today, be sure to like, share, and comment. Tell a friend to tell a friend. to be back for the next episode. Actually, to be here on Saturday for Journaling Out Loud and come back for the next episode. If you would like to join our shift challenge in our supportive community, comment below. I'm going to get you that information. So until the next episode.